The aroma of roasted garlic and fresh herbs filled Alex Johnson's apartment, its cozy chaos reflecting the chaos in his life. It had been a long day filled with missed orders and an unfortunate kitchen accident that had resulted in a small fire. Now, standing in a makeshift kitchen, he channeled his frustration into experimentation. "Now, let's see what you're made of," he murmured to the pot simmering on the stove. Today's secret ingredient was an alien spice that had caught his eye at the market, a bright blue powder called flairton. Struggling between skepticism and curiosity, he decided to have a go. Just as he was about to sprinkle in the flairton, a sudden flash illuminated the room, startling him. "What the?" he exclaimed, rubbing his eyes. As the light faded, a figure emerged, ethereal and breathtaking. "Greetings, Earth creature," the being said, her voice like a melody. She had strikingly glowing skin that shimmered with hues of blue and green, and her gown flowed around her as if affected by an unseen breeze. "I am Lyra from the planet Elonar." "Well, that's unexpected," Alex said, taken aback but unable to tear his eyes away from her. "You just appeared." "Yes, I did. I was hoping to experience the culinary creativity of your kind." As she looked around, her interest landing on the simmering pot, Alex couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. Right? You picked a fine time for a culinary tour," he joked, trying to regain his composure. "I was about to try out a new recipe." "May I assist?" Lyra asked, stepping closer. Her radiant eyes sparkled with curiosity. Sure. If you can handle Earth food," Alex replied, possibly too cockily. "I mean, you might need a tastier flavor for your standards." Lyra laughed, a lilting sound. "I welcome the challenge." With renewed energy, the two started working side by side in the small kitchen. Alex handed her the spice jar. "This is flairton. It's supposed to have some amazing properties. It was a hit at my last catering gig, even if no one could quite figure out what to call it." She took a tiny pinch of the powder and sniffed it. "Fascinating. It carries a warm scent, a hint of something sweet but earthy." "That's one way to put it," Alex said, watching her with growing intrigue as they clinked utensils while working. "Can you use it in Elantarian cuisine?" "Very much so," she nodded, tossing the flairton into the pot. "In fact, the spice echoes the flavors of the Lemuria plant from my home." "The what now?" Alex asked, tilting his head. "Sounds like a botanical rock band." Lyra grinned. "A delightful edible plant often used in salads and main dishes. I have a recipe that blends both our worlds." "Okay. I'm game. What's next?" "A caramelized root we must prepare," she said, rummaging through his fridge. "Ah, you have parsnips. Perfect." She withdrew them, her movements graceful. "Is that a common ingredient back home?" he asked, intrigued. "Parsnips? Not particularly. We have roots of a different sort, but I think your earth parsnips shall charm our palates." She gently began peeling them, her focus intense. Alex admired her concentration. "You know, I didn't think intergalactic guests would be interested in my humble kitchen. Crucial to the local culinary scene, I reckon." Lyra laughed again, her eyes lighting up. "Your humble kitchen is a treasure. I cherish the creativity here. Besides, I have come to learn from you, not to judge." Taking a moment to appreciate her open-mindedness, he responded, "That's a refreshing perspective." As they chopped and mixed, a free-flowing dialogue ignited. Lyra shared snippets about her home planet, describing its flora and the colors that painted the skies, all the while Alex enthusiastically pointed out aspects of life on Earth: eclectic festivals, food trucks, and pizza parties. "Pizza, what a curious name," Lyra exclaimed, her eyes wide. "How does one create a pie with such exactness?" Alex laughed. "It's not a pie, really. It's dough, sauce, cheese, and toppings. A canvas for creativity. Like this." He gestured grandly, illuminating his love for the culinary arts. "Perhaps I shall learn to create a pizza someday," she mused as they prepared the dish. "Absolutely. You'll be a pizza master in no time," he said, feeling a sense of camaraderie forming. "What's next? Can we make a pizza flavored with your Lemuria plant?" "Of course. But let us finish this dish first." As they finished cooking, the savory aroma wafting through the kitchen began to merge their laughter and banter, building a remarkable connection. The dish completed, Alex plated it with delight. "Let's see how good this chef is," Lyra exclaimed, taking the first bite. Her expression shifted from curious to enthralled as she savored each flavor. "This is incredible," she marveled, her eyes shining as she tasted. "You have an extraordinary talent. I must remember this moment." Feeling a swell of pride, Alex replied, "Thank you. And honestly, I couldn't have done it without you. The fusion of our worlds is something else." "Indeed. I felt so much life in this dish," she said, looking straight into his eyes. For a moment, silence enveloped them, electric and charged. "Let's keep cooking together, shall we?" Alex suggested, breaking the gaze, but not the connection. I would like nothing more, Lyra replied softly. And just like that, the shadow of his earlier struggles melted away, leaving only the warmth of possibility. Little did they both know that this simple act of cooking would pave the way for a bond neither of them had anticipated. As they laughed and danced around ingredients, the recipe for a deepening friendship had begun brewing, one delightful spoonful at a time. Chapter 2: A Culinary Exchange. The sun poured through the curtains of Alex's apartment, illuminating the half-finished dishes from the previous night. He shuffled into the kitchen, still a bit groggy but energized by thoughts of his new friend, Lyra. It felt like an eternity since their cooking adventure had begun, and excitement buzzed in him. Time to make culinary magic again, he muttered to himself, recalling Lyra's laughter and the way her eyes danced when she explored new flavors. With a smile, he decided today would be a day for experimenting with another dish, inspired by the fusion they had begun. As he pulled out ingredients, the soft chime of the doorbell made him look up. Lyra, he exclaimed, racing to answer. Hello, Earth Chef? Lyra greeted him, her attire today a sparkling dress that reflected the colors around her, a brilliant display reminiscent of the galaxy. Wow, you really know how to make an entrance. Alex laughed, stepping aside to let her in. What do you think? Did the culinary gods send you here, or are you just here for breakfast? Is it too early for the culinary gods? She teased back, her laughter ringing like chimes. I'm ready to experiment with breakfast. What do you have in mind? Well, he said, scratching his head. How about pancake tacos? They're a human invention, a perfect blend of breakfast and fun. Pancake tacos? What an intriguing combination. Lyra responded, her curiosity piqued. What is a taco? Alex pulled out flour, eggs, and milk. A taco is usually a sandwich-like vessel made from a tortilla filled with deliciousness. In this case, we'll use pancakes for the vessel and fill them with whatever we can conjure. Lyra clapped her hands, eyes sparkling. Let's create. I can prepare a sweet filling of Lemuria fruit and honey. How does that sound? Perfect. I can whip up the pancake batter, he replied, already sifting flour into a bowl. Do you want to make the filling while I do this? Of course, she said, moving toward the basket of fruits he had previously gathered. She inspected the assortment with fascination, picking up a brightly colored fruit. What is this one? That's a mango. Not all that exotic, but really sweet and juicy. Alex chuckled. Give it a try. She took a bite, eyes widening in surprise. This is delightful. It reminds me a little of our skyberries. Skyberries? Wow, I need to try those. Alex said, jotting down their connection. How many fruits do you have on Elanar? Many. Some are as sweet as this and others more savory, she replied, lost in thought. We use them to celebrate unity during feasts. We believe food brings people together. Couldn't agree more, he smiled, focusing on whisking the batter. Food, kind of like art, tells a story, doesn't it? Precisely. With every dish we create, there are memories, laughter, and sometimes tears, Lyra said, slicing the luminescent Lemuria fruit as it sparkled in the light. Alex moved to the stove and poured the batter into a skillet. Let's see how our pancake tacos turn out. He flipped the first one expertly, the golden brown surface releasing a heavenly aroma. These are coming along nicely. Here's your magical burrito, Lyra announced, holding a bowl filled with the vibrant, sweet filling. I can't wait to see how they taste together. With the pancakes cooling on a plate and the filling ready, they assembled their creations with flair. The kitchen became a blend of laughter and playful banter as they worked side by side. Want to see how it's done? He said, preparing a masterpiece. First, we take a pancake, scoop in some filling like this. He placed the sweet fruit mixture gently onto the pancake and folded it over. And voila! Pancake taco. And now to taste it, Lyra said, mirroring his movements, her eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. They took a bite simultaneously, chewing with exaggerated expressions. They both exclaimed at once, breaking into laughter. This is surprisingly good. Lyra gasped. Who knew pancake tacos would be a hit? Alex chuckled, savoring the mix of flavors. Consider me impressed. Let's make more. Lyra insisted, her voice filled with eagerness. Hours passed, each pancake taco more adventurous than the last. They filled the tacos with a variety of ingredients, Nutella, whipped cream, even some spicy salsa that Alex insisted they try. Lyra picked up a taco SD with spicy salsa and grinned. Are you sure about this? Live on the edge. Alex laughed, watching her take the bite. What do you think? Her face contorted for a second, surprise melding with thrill. This is an explosion of flavor. Humans and their wild ideas. Only the best for my intergalactic chef friend. Alex replied, beaming. As they continued with their culinary creations, the conversation flowed as easily as the laughter. They shared stories of cooking mishaps, Lyra recounting a tale from her home where she'd accidentally used a luminescent spice meant for decoration in a feast, and Alex regaled her with his latest kitchen disasters. It's really impressive that you create beauty even from blunders, Lyra noted, her expression awe-filled. I have seen you bring warmth and joy through food. Thanks, but the spotlight's on you, my friend, he replied. Your insight has transformed my cooking. They paused for a moment, the air thick with unspoken understanding. Do you think there are cuisines yet to discover? Lyra asked, her curiosity peeking through. Alex looked thoughtful. Absolutely. Every meal is an opportunity to explore cultures, stories, and ideas. Just like us. Lyra nodded slowly, her expression turning serious. Exactly. We may come from different worlds, yet here we find harmony. Right? Alex said, snapping back into exuberance. Let's craft more dishes. How about we try savory tacos next? Savory? Oh, I like how that sounds. Maybe we could add some Elentarian herbs as a base. Lyra suggested, her voice animated again. Oh, this is going to be amazing. Alex said, his mind racing with possibilities. Together they joyfully gathered ingredients, diving into the next adventure side by side, bound by their love for cooking, laughter, and the thrill of the unknown. For Alex, it was clear. Every moment spent with Lyra was a page in a story waiting to unfold, and he couldn't wait to write it together. Chapter 3: Cultural Currents. The days melted into a joyful routine for Alex and Lyra. Mornings began with cooking experiments, the air filled with laughter and the savory sense of spices from their respective worlds. They pushed each other's culinary boundaries, turning the simple act of cooking into a vibrant dance of creativity. One sunny afternoon, while preparing for a mini-feast in Alex's apartment, Lyra excitedly placed her hands on her hips and surveyed the kitchen. Today, we should focus on a surprise. A surprise? Alex raised an eyebrow, smirking. What do you have in mind? I intend to show you a traditional Elentarian dish called Solaro wraps. We use them to celebrate communal gatherings, she said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. But I will need your help. I'm in, Alex replied, grabbing his apron as he leaned closer. What's the first step? Lyra placed her hands on a sleek, winding plant she had brought along. This is the star of the show, the guela vine. It provides a base for our wraps. You will see. What's so special about it? Alex asked, intrigued. The guela vine has a unique texture, almost like a soft cheese, with a nutty undertone. It grows on Elan or near our flowing rivers, she explained, carefully slicing the vine. Sounds incredible. Let's see it in action, he said, eager to learn. As she demonstrated how to prepare the vine for wrapping, Alex couldn't help but admire her focus. So, what do we fill the wraps with? Typically, we use a mix of ingredients, spices, roasted plants, and sometimes even fruits for sweetness, she answered, glancing around Alex's kitchen. Do you have any suitable ingredients? Let's see, Alex rummaged through his pantry. How about roasted peppers, black beans, and maybe some cheese? Earth cheese? Interesting, she laughed, her curiosity piqued again. Sure. That will bring a delightful twist. With supplies gathered, the two began chopping ingredients. You know, Alex said, I never thought I'd be learning to make wraps from an intergalactic culinary master. You exaggerate. I'm simply enthusiastic about cooking, Lyra replied, her hands dexterously slicing the peppers. Besides, I enjoy your energy and creativity. It's inspiring. Thanks. You kind of make my small apartment feel like a grand kitchen, he chuckled. Let's place the ingredients inside the guela wraps now, she suggested, holding up the vine like it was a treasure. That's the spirit. Alex grinned, taking on the role of the enthusiastic assistant. As they began assembling the wraps, laughter erupted over the mess they were making and the odd combinations they experimented with. Here's one with black beans, cheese, and a dash of your flair and spice. Alex declared, folding the wrap with exaggerated care. Let me try another. Lyra exclaimed, grabbing a wrap and layering it with roasted peppers and a couple of slices of Lemuria fruit. There. This will be a delightful blend of sweet and spicy. They each prepared several wraps, playfully challenging one another to create the most outrageous combinations. Check this. Alex called, displaying a wrap overflowing with ingredients, eliciting laughter from Lyra. The atmosphere shifted as they each glanced around the kitchen, which had transformed into a whirlwind of culinary chaos. What if we host a small gathering with our friends? Lyra proposed suddenly. We could share our cultures through these creations. Are you serious? That would be amazing. Alex exclaimed. We can invite some of my buddies from the restaurant. They'll love this. Yes. I'll talk about Elentarian food and share stories. Lyra said, clearly thrilled. In that case, let's go all out. We'll need to showcase everything we've made so far, Alex suggested, bouncing with excitement. They spent the afternoon preparing dishes, chatting about their cultures and laughing about the countless small mistakes they inevitably made along the way. I can't believe I nearly burned that wrap, Alex said, shaking his head. It's part of the culinary journey, Lyra said, laughter bubbling over once more. You can't have success without a few mishaps. Hours later, they were finally ready for their small gathering. What do you think of the spread? Alex asked, admiring their creations laid out on the dining table. It looks beautiful, Lyra replied, beaming at the colorful assortment of the wraps, tacos, and inventive side dishes. Just then, the doorbell rang. Guests, Alex said excitedly, scrambling to composure. You ready? More than ready, Lyra replied, straightening her glowing attire, her excitement palpable. When Alex opened the door, a couple of his restaurant colleagues entered, eyes wide in surprise. Whoa, what's all this? Jake, one of them, exclaimed. Welcome. Today we're launching a cultural feast, Alex said enthusiastically. Meet Lyra, my new friend from Elonar. Lyra stepped forward, smiling warmly. Greetings. I've prepared some wraps and other culinary delights from my world. Eagerly, the guests approached the table, intrigued by the colorful array. This looks amazing, Anna, another colleague, said as she picked up a wrap. What's in it? Lyra took a breath, her enthusiasm shining through. This is a traditional Elantarian dish called Solaro wraps made with gowella vine infused with earth ingredients. Wow, you're going to have to teach us how to make these, Jake said, taking a bite. His eyes widened. This is fantastic. As the group began tasting different dishes, excitement filled the room. Laughter and storytelling burst forth as they shared anecdotes about the origins of their foods. Did you really use luminescent spices in this dish? Anna asked after tasting a taco. Lyra grinned. Yes, it adds a special glow, both in taste and appearance. Looks like we're getting a culinary education today, Jake added, grabbing another taco. The evening unfolded with warmth and connection. Lyra captivated them with tales of Elantar, of markets blooming with swirling colors and scents, while Alex shared humorous moments from his culinary school days. Cooking really does unite people, Lyra said, smiling as she glanced around the table, warmth in her chest. Absolutely. This is exactly what I envisioned when I suggested we host a gathering, Alex added, feeling a swell of pride. As the night wore on and the laughter echoed, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that what started as a simple friendship had transformed into something deeper. He looked over at Lyra, her smile as radiant as ever, and he knew this was just the beginning of a partnership that would forever change them both. Here's to more delicious adventures. He raised his glass towards Lyra. To many more, she echoed, her eyes sparkling with promise. Together, they celebrated their bond and the flavors of two worlds, united in a shared passion for creativity and friendship. Chapter 4. The Taste of Longing. A week had passed since their gathering, and the energy following the event still buzzed around Alex's apartment. The whispers of laughter, shared stories, and culinary delights had left a mark on both him and Lyra. One evening, as they prepared for another cooking session, Alex noticed Lyra's radiant glow seemed slightly dimmer than usual. Hey, is everything all right? He asked, stirring the pot of soup on the stove. Ro, I'm expected to participate. It's an honor and a chance to share our cultures, but it means I must return home soon. Alex's heart sank. When do you leave? In a few days. Wow, that's soon, he said, trying to keep his tone steady but feeling the knot in his stomach grow tighter. What will happen with our cooking sessions? Lyra turned to him, her eyes softening. I can still teach you some dishes before I go. I want to share everything I've learned with you. Of course. I'd love that. He felt a flicker of optimism, though uncertainty simmered underneath. Let's create something special together tonight. Something to remember our time by, she said, determination edging her voice. Sounds great. What are you thinking? How about a fusion dish that represents both our worlds, she suggested, her excitement shining through. Alex grinned. I like the sound of that. Let's get to work. They rummaged through the kitchen, gathering an array of ingredients. Lyra held up the gowella vine. This will serve as our base, just like before. We can blend it with a classic human dish, maybe a stir-fry. I love that idea. What do you want to stir-fry? Alex asked, already envisioning the meld of flavors. Let's use some vegetables and maybe add in a sweet sauce, she said with enthusiasm. We could even fry up some earth tofu for protein. Good call. I've got some in the fridge. Alex fetched it, eyes sparkling at the thought of mixing their culinary worlds. As they prepared the ingredients, Lyra focused intently on her tasks while Alex sneaked glances at her, captivated by her movements. It dawned on him how much he had come to cherish their time together, how much he admired her spirit. Are you going to miss it here? He asked, breaking the quiet concentration. Lyra looked up thoughtfully, her hands resting on a cutting board laden with vegetables. I will miss many things, this kitchen, our cooking sessions, and she hesitated, glancing at him. You. That single word hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Me? Alex echoed, his heart racing. Yes, you, she replied, her voice softer now. You've made my visit unforgettable. I'm glad you feel that way, Alex said, feeling warmth spread in his chest. You've opened my eyes, well, my palate, to so many things. They busily chopped and sautéed, their movements fluid, a well-rehearsed rhythm building between them. Lyra began to hum, a soft tune that echoed the stirring aromas of the food. Hey, that sounds beautiful, Alex said, smiling. It's a lullaby from my home, she explained. It's sung during gatherings, often while preparing food. Now I'm really going to miss all of this, Alex said, almost jokingly, but there was an edge of sincerity in his voice. The stir-fry began to bubble, filling the kitchen with an orchestration of scents. Let's blend our cultures, shall we? Lyra suggested, her voice warm against their culinary backdrop. Absolutely. I can already taste the triumph of our fusion, Alex exclaimed. As they plated the finished dish, each layer becoming a reflection of their combined kitchens, he couldn't help but stare at her. This is something unique, he said. A creation by us. Yes, and it represents both our worlds. A bridge between them, Lyra said, her eyes sparkling. Let's toast to that, Alex suggested, lifting a glass of sparkling water. Here's to culinary adventures and a friendship, Lyra interjected, raising her glass as well. They clinked their glasses, sharing a moment that felt deep and significant. The air shifted, the atmosphere heavy with things left unsaid. Yet, playful whispers of laughter broke the weight. All right, Alex said, taking a bite of the stir-fry. Let's see how our masterpiece holds up. Lyra took a bite, her eyes widening in delight. This is incredible. The gawella adds such a unique flavor paired with the tofu. Right? I think we actually did it. Alex chuckled. As they savored the food, the conversation flowed more naturally. They chatted about the flavors, how they might evolve this dish, and what other combinations they could explore. Yet, the undercurrent in their dialogue remained, the impending farewell lingered between them like an uninvited guest. Do you really have to go? Alex finally asked, his tone serious. Yes, my world awaits. It is important for me to share what I've learned, Lyra replied softly. But I promise to return. I want to continue our culinary journey together here on Earth. Will it be the same, though? He asked quietly, fear creeping into his voice. Will it feel different? Everything changes, but that doesn't mean it has to be bad, Lyra reassured him, her gaze steady. We'll find a way to make it work. Just like this dish, we'll adapt. He gulped, feeling a mix of sadness and determination. I don't want to lose what we have. You won't, Lyra said, her sincerity palpable. You've become a cherished part of my experience. Not just in cooking, but in life. Then I look forward to what's next, Alex said, nodding slowly, his heart heavy yet hopeful. As the sun dipped low outside, casting soft shadows across the kitchen, they continued to eat, their conversation ebbing and flowing, the food slowly disappearing. Let's make our last culinary session together a memorable one, Lyra suggested, a look of mischievous intent crossing her face. What do you have in mind? Alex asked, curiosity piquing. How about we create a dessert, something out of this world? She proposed, her enthusiasm returning. Something that embodies our flavors. Bring it on. What are we making? Sweet Lemuria custard with a touch of earth chocolate, a mix of indulgence and taste, Lyra said, clearly proud of her idea. Perfect. Let's do it. The evening turned into a whirlwind of preparation, laughter, and delightful chaos. They blended the creamy custard, combining their ingredients in a messy yet joyous manner. As they sat down after completing the dessert, the heaviness of their earlier conversation faded, replaced once more with lightheartedness. I can't believe how much we've created together, Alex said, admiring the stunning bowl of custard before them. Each flavor tells a story, just like us, Lyra said, taking a bite. Her face brightened instantly. This is enchanting. Just like our culinary partnership, Alex added, a smile spreading across his face. As they dove into the dessert, the moment was bittersweet, a blend of joy and longing. It was a celebration of what had been and what was still to come. In that glowing kitchen, surrounded by their culinary creations, Alex felt hope lingering between them, a silent promise, a pact forged in food, culture, and connection. Chapter 5, Culinary Kingdoms United. The morning sun kissed the city of New Avalon with a golden hue, but inside his kitchen, Alex felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as he prepared for Lyra's impending departure. The days spent cooking together had flown by, and he yearned to make their last day count. He stood at the counter, mentally scrambling for ideas. "All right, what can we do to make today unforgettable?" he murmured to himself. Before he could ponder too long, the doorbell rang, and with a flutter in his chest, he rushed to answer it. "Lyra," he exclaimed, pulling her into a quick embrace. "I'm so glad you're here." "Me too. I'm excited for today, but sad that it's our last," she admitted, her voice tinged with bittersweet realization. "Let's not dwell on that. We've got a day of culinary wonders ahead," Alex said, trying to radiate enthusiasm. "What do you have in mind?" Lyra asked, her curiosity piqued. "I thought we could create a dish to represent our journey together, a dish that embodies our collaboration," he suggested, inspiration striking. "A meaningful dish. I love that," Lyra replied, her face lighting up. "What do you envision?" "Well, how about a layered culinary masterpiece? Something colorful that combines our favorite elements from all the dishes we created," Alex said, mentally sketching out a vision. "Great idea. We could use the guava vine as the base and add layers of everything, our stir-fry, taco components, and, of course, dessert flavors," she exclaimed, bouncing on her feet. "Exactly. Let's make a layered wrap," Alex agreed, the excitement palpable in his voice. "That way, every bite will tell a story." "Let's get to it," Lyra said, ready to dive in. The kitchen buzzed with energy as they gathered their ingredients, the air infused with laughter and the vibrant sense of the flavors they adored. As they worked side by side, Lyra looked over at Alex, her eyes bright. "You've taught me so much about Earth dishes. I think I may have found my favorite dish here." "Really? What is it?" Alex asked, genuinely curious. "The pancake tacos," she declared, grinning. "Really? I figured that was just a fun experiment," Alex chuckled, shaking his head. "No, truly. It was nostalgic for a dish from my childhood. It reminds me of joyful gatherings," Lyra said, her eyes distant with memories. "Maybe we can finalize a recipe for it before you leave and you can take it back to Elantar," Alex suggested, enthusiasm refueling his spirit. "That's an outstanding idea," Lyra replied, her energy bolstered. "But first, let's get our layered wrap going." They deftly sliced and diced, mixing in various textures and tastes, crunchy vegetables, aromatic spices, and vibrant colors as they built their creation layer by layer. "Look at this," Lyra exclaimed, holding up the guava vine as they began to layer. "Doesn't it look beautiful?" "Absolutely. It's like a canvas," Alex agreed, marveling at their work. "I can already see it taking shape." With careful hands, they filled the vine with their stir-fry, then topped it with the savory tacos. Each layer added to the visual feast, the colors vibrant against the green of the guava vine. "Should we also add something sweet? Perhaps a drizzle of Lemuria fruit puree," Lyra suggested. "Great idea. Let's do that," Alex replied, dashing over to retrieve the sweet sauce they had whipped up previously. As they poured it over the layers, sparkling light seemed to reflect off the colorful dish, making it seem almost magical. "It's perfect," Lyra said, her sheer delight evident. "I can feel your energy in this dish." "It's a group effort," Alex replied, nudging her playfully. "Couldn't do it without you." They stepped back to admire their creation, the layers telling a story all their own. "What should we name it?" Lyra pondered, placing her hand on her chin. "How about Unity Wrap?" Alex offered. "Reflects our culinary journey and friendship." "Yes. It's perfect. It captures everything we've created together," Lyra said, pleasure evident in her voice. "Let's take a picture," Alex suggested, quickly grabbing his phone. Together, they posed next to their masterpiece, hands resting on the dish, grinning widely. "To our journey," Lyra declared. "To our journey," Alex echoed, capturing the moment, a memory frozen in time. Once the photo was taken, they dug in with gusto, each bite bursting with flavors that represented their culinary exploration. "This is brilliant. It feels like a celebration of our experiences," Lyra said, savoring each mouthful. "For sure. It's so unique," Alex agreed, his mind swirling with the memories of their time together. They polished off the dish amidst lively conversation, recounting each culinary adventure, from the pancake tacos to the Solaro wraps, laughter bubbling forth as they replayed their mishaps and triumphs. "I've never cooked with anyone quite like this," Lyra admitted, her voice tinged with sincerity. "You've changed my perspective on food." "I could say the same about you," Alex replied, feeling warmth fill the space between them. "You've shown me how much a meal can connect people." As they cleaned up the kitchen, Lyra turned to him, a serious look crossing her face. "Thank you for this, everything. I'll carry these memories back with me." "You're welcome." You've made a lasting impression on my life, Alex said, his tone steady but filled with unspoken feelings. Just then, the doorbell rang again, breaking the moment. Looks like our time may be cut short, Alex said, heading to the door. When he opened it, his friends from the restaurant stepped in, ready to join in the activity. Hey, party time. What's cooking? Jake yelled, grinning. Perfect timing, Alex said, feigning enthusiasm while glancing back at Lyra. Is that a new dish? Anna asked, her eyes wide as she eyed the remnants of their layered wrap. Unity wrap. It's fantastic, Alex said, quickly moving to the counter to slice and serve. What is it? Jake asked, plucking a piece off the plate. It's a fusion dish that combines some of the best ingredients from both our culinary backgrounds, Lyra answered, a hint of pride in her voice. As they tasted the wrap, approving murmurs filled the room. This is delicious, Anna remarked, her eyes widening in delight. I love how the flavors intertwine. Nice work, you guys. You've outdone yourselves, Jake added, taking another bite. Thank you. But remember, it was a team effort, Lyra said, smiling warmly at Alex, whose nerves relaxed with the joy of sharing their creation. As the energy in the room grew, mixing laughter with discussions about flavors, Alex felt a sense of camaraderie washing over him. Lyra stood next to him, engaged with their friends, and together they shared stories about the dishes they had made and the bonds they had formed. Yet, despite the camaraderie and laughter surrounding them, a sense of longing settled deep within Alex. He knew time was escaping them, and the thought of Lyra leaving weighed heavily on his heart. Hey, can we gather around the table? He suggested, a sudden thought striking him. I'd like to propose a toast. Sure. What are we celebrating? Jake asked. Celebrating friendship, flavors, and the unique cultural fusion we've created, Alex said, emotion tinging his voice as he met Lyra's gaze. To friendship, everyone joined in, raising their glasses with enthusiasm. To culinary journeys? Lyra concluded, her eyes shining, and for a moment they shared a connection that transcended words. As the evening unfolded amidst laughter and shared dishes, Alex knew this wouldn't be the end for them. He might not know how their culinary journey would continue across galaxies, but he felt certain that they had forged a bond that could withstand distance. In the swirling colors of their united worlds, hope lingered like the aroma of their final dish, a promise of flavors and memories they would cherish until they could be together once more.